Hey folks, and welcome back to another video on the Planet Zach YouTube channel. Today I'm going to be talking about the new Roblox Sonic Speed Simulator game. This is going to be a lot of footage, but I'm going to talk over most of it to walk you through what's going on and what to expect. I did try to get my first steps out there, but I actually, even though I kept getting notifications that my Xbox was recording the footage, when I woke up this morning, none of it had been uploaded to Xbox Live, and it doesn't exist on the console either, so I think I just ran out of storage and it just kept giving me the notification that I was filming without actually doing that. So unfortunately I lost a lot of the earlier footage, but I was able to make enough that I think I can still give you a somewhat comprehensive guide as to what happens in the game. Now with all that said, let's get right into it. So here you can see I am Sonic, but you won't actually be Sonic when you first boot up the game. You'll be your normal Roblox avatar. So you have to find this little card that has Sonic on it in order to play as Sonic. And you can see here I've just rebirthed, so basically I set myself back to the very first level, and so my speed is very slow to begin with. And you can see I have around me this little Chow. If you haven't played Sonic Adventure, or a lot of the more recent games have had Chow featured, they're just these little creatures in the Sonic universe, and that thing I just stood next to is a vending machine where you can get Chow, trails, and XP. You can see the blue trail I have as I walk. That's one that I got from one of those vending machines. Now the thing with the vending machines is that you can purchase the things in the vending machines for rings, but what you get out of the vending machine is completely random. You do have a higher percentage chance of getting a certain thing over another, depending on what the percentage is at the time when you access the machine. And I'm sure you've gathered that these diamond things I'm collecting are giving me XP. Well, the Chow and the trails will boost the amount of XP that you get. So it's really just you buy things with rings that will help you get more XP. You can see I couldn't get through the first loop, but by the time I get to the second loop, I can actually go through it. The loops vary in size, and some are harder to get up than others, and you have to be a higher level than you normally would. And I would like to point out, you aren't going to be leveling up nearly as fast as I am when you first start. This is all because I have the different Chow and the trail equipped, and they affect how many XP points I get for going through one of those diamonds, which are called orbs. This little thing is also a vending machine. It's up on top of this structure. I just thought I'd point it out in case you want to find one that's got some pretty rare stuff in it. And they gradually get more expensive as you progress. So the first one that's by the startup gate is cheaper, and as you get further into the world, they are more and more expensive. And then once you unlock the other maps, they will each have one at their entrance, and they also progressively get more expensive, but they also progressively have rarer stuff inside. And as you can see now, I'm entering the first Green Hill Zone obby. If you don't know what that is, I've gathered that it's like Roblox shorthand slang for obstacle course. Now, you cover a lot of ground with your jump, and you do tend to keep a little bit of your momentum when you land. So I would consider both of those factors when platforming. You are liable to walk right off of the platform you just landed on it, or slide off of it. But once you get used to the way it controls, you might get better at it. And it makes it worth it because each one of these first few little obstacle courses has a reward at the end of a sum of rings, and you can get the rings as a reward every 6 hours. So if I came back into this obby in around 6 hours, I would be able to get more rings. This will be the same sum of rings each time you enter the obby, and that's one of the fastest ways to get rings, is to just log in, and every 6 hours or so you get to take the obstacle course again and get the new sum of rings. And you can see these things that I'm running through here are like these XP giving rings. Like once you jump through one and break it, you get some more XP. The number is typically shown in the center of the ring, so I just got a bunch of XP for going through that one. So now you're probably wondering, how do you get Sonic? And I'm actually about to show you where you can find him. I just ran past the Yellow Chow that will actually point out the location where you can find him. It's right up there on that rail is where the card that gives you Sonic appears. And the way you get onto the rail is if you are able to take one of the loops that grind rail goes through. You can take the loop about halfway up and then get into the rail and get to the card. And as you can see, there's usually one of these machines that gives you a bundle of rings located in each map. Now that I've done the first obby, I can go into the second obby. I'm not sure if you actually have to play them in order each time. I know you have to play the obbies that unlock specific maps in order, because you basically go through one to get to the next one. So this obby is pretty simple. Some homing attack things for you to attack. You get more rings. And now I'd like to tell you really what you use these rings for. Like I said, you can spend them at the vending machines, and each of the vending machines will have a different price per, I guess, spin of sorts, since it's kind of like a random thing. And like I said, there are things in each vending machine at different times that are more likely to be won, and you can get duplicates. Like I got I think almost 10 white chow out of one of the 1,000 ring vending machines trying to get a purple chow. I just kind of wanted to collect all the colors. They're different rarities and they give you different stat boosts. But I still feel like it would be kind of cool to have all of them, even though you can't really do much with them after you've equipped all the ones that you can. But that's kind of what you spend your rings on. And you can buy rings with Robux, and anything else that you buy besides the stuff in the vending machine you will pay for with Robux. And I would say that buying rings is not necessarily something you have to do in order to enjoy the experience. You collect them pretty easily. I don't know if you noticed, I actually got a bunch when I was rebirthed. So you collect rings pretty regularly just by playing, and as long as you aren't too super into getting all the rarest stuff, you can have a good time without having to shell out any actual real life dollars. Now you can see I'm in the third obby for Green Hill, which for some reason is themed after Hilltop. I don't know if this is evidence that they had a Hilltop map planned and then had to scrap it or something, but it's very interesting to have a completely different zone represented in the third Green Hill Zone obby. It's a little bit challenging, but it's also very forgiving. You can see at the beginning, if you fall off of the lower platforms, you land on a place where you can jump across the gorge to the start. And just like the other obbies, you have a reward at the end, and then you can go back to Green Hill. And once you've completed all 3 of these obbies, you're able to go to the first additional map, which is the Lost Valley map. And you just have to find the path that leads to the gate for that obby, and you'll complete a small obby to unlock the map. And you will have to do that every time you play. You'll have to unlock Lost Valley by playing the Lost Valley obby, and then once you're in Lost Valley, you'll have to unlock the next map by playing that map's obby, which you can only access from it within Lost Valley. So here you'll see I'm doing the obby. These obbies are all pretty similar, just a platforming section to get through to move on to the next map. And they aren't that difficult. Actually, in all honesty, if you can get through the first Green Hill lobby, then you can pretty much get through all of these. That one, I think, is the toughest for some unknown reason. And here I'm actually going to make a purchase with the vending machine, and I don't know if you've noticed this, it's probably hard to see from just watching the gameplay footage, but you have like a cursor which you can toggle to with a push of a button, and that's what you use to start the game. It's also what you use to do any of these purchases. Anytime you have to click on something, you have to toggle between the player character and the cursor. I don't know if it's like that for other Roblox games. I don't really play Roblox that much, but I did want to check this out. So you'll see I got a trail, and I'm going to equip it. The footage is going to cut because that's where my recording time timed out, but I'm going to equip the trail and you can see what it looks like, and you can see I've got a bunch of different trails. Now here I am running with the trail. It's like a white wavy trail, and it's pretty cool. I still like the blue one better, but you know, this is a cool one too. And you can pretty much level up your pets and your trails, and as they level up, they will give you more XP bonuses and more ring bonuses. So if you look in your inventory and you have two of the same type of chow or two of the same type of trail, and you've used one but not the other, there's a chance that you'll see that there's a difference between how much XP they give you, because they can increase the amount of XP and rings that they'll give you as bonuses as they level up, and you'll occasionally get a notification saying, hey, this thing you have equipped leveled up. And there is actually a limit to how much stuff you can have in your inventory. I'm pretty sure it applies to both trails and chow. So if you get duplicates and you don't really want that duplicate, then you can just delete it. It seems kind of mean, this thing they just give you. It's like, this is your pet, but it's like, yeah, but I already had one. So, you know, it's an interesting way for the chow to be included, and I love it when they are included in stuff like this, but you really can only carry so many, and so I deleted all those white chow that I got as duplicates, because I'm like, I don't need this many. I can't do anything with them. So here we're going into the obby for the third world, which is themed after Emerald Hill. You'll see I completely bonked this a couple times. I'm just like falling into the pit or missing the jump, and it's like, dude, come on. But I do eventually get through this. This isn't the first time I've done this. It's just, for whatever reason, I struggle with this one sometimes. I don't know why. But there's a ring at the end of the first section, and I always try to jump through it and land on that final platform, but I always miss and have to start over. The obbies are actually very forgiving. You can die pretty much limitlessly, and you just get sent back to the beginning. So as long as you get through it, eventually you can get whatever's at the end of it. So here I finally make it, and we're going to Emerald Hill. In order to be able to access Emerald Hill, you will have to rebirth at least once. Rebirthing is done when you reach the max level for the current rebirth you're on, which you start out being able to reach level 25, or it might be 50, but you rebirth and get 25 extra levels each time. So each time you rebirth, you can go 25 more levels before you reach the max. And then once you rebirth once, you can access Emerald Hill. And then for the final zone, which is Snow Valley, you have to rebirth 3 times. So I think you will have to rebirth 3 to 4 times in order to unlock everything, and you can rebirth more than that if you want to keep playing after you get to the final map, but you won't be able to unlock any further maps because the world that comes after Snow Valley, well, it looks like it's planned, it does not yet exist. So even there's no like gate in the Snow Valley world. There's a place where I think it might be eventually. There's like a dark like cave where there's just a wall there and it's not even textured, so I think that's where they plan to have the entrance, but that's just pure speculation. And as far as like a final reward for getting through everything, I think this is pretty great. It's definitely my second favorite, with the first favorite being Green Hill. Yeah, what's that like liking Green Hill? And it's not just because I think Green Hill is a particularly awesome stage or anything. It's just the Green Hill map is a lot more organized. There are clear-cut paths. There are far more loops, and all the other maps are a lot more scattered. There's scattered set pieces. If you just saw right there, that's where I think the entrance is going to be for the next map. But there just isn't as much organization, and the orbs are more spread out. They aren't put in paths, so it's a lot more difficult to get more XP in those ones. But that's not as big of a problem in the Snow Valley map. There's a few trails where you will have the orbs in a line, and then like there's this loop here which I'm clearly struggling to get through. The physics are weird sometimes. I don't know if you know this, but most of the time in Sonic games, when you're going through a loop, that is a scripted sequence. And if you are wanting to go through a loop super fast, a lot of times if you try to go faster, it'll freak the game out. So now you've probably noticed I finally clicked on that nonsense that was going on in the top center of the screen. Yes, every 2 minutes or so, you're able to participate in a race, and it will ask, do you want to join the race? And you can either ignore it, or you can get out your cursor and select yes or no. No will, I'm guessing, make the notification go away. It's not that distracting to me, so I basically just ignore it. In fact, half the time when I want to be in a race, I forget that it's even there. And right there you can see it shows the winners of that particular race. The race is really short, especially when you get fast, because it's like you just zoom through that thing. So my favorite thing to do is to just get all the way to the Snow Valley map, and there's a few of the bigger ticket air rings to get XP from, and they regenerate every so often, and I just get those until the next race comes up, and then I'll race. And I think the idea is that you get rewards regardless of if you place, but if you place, you're supposed to get more rewards. But truth be told, I'm not entirely sure what the rewards you're getting are. I just feel like it's a good way to break up the monotony. I feel like this game is like what you would get if a game for consoles and a game for like mobile phones were kind of merged. It's relatively open-ended and it's repetitive gameplay, but it's also like a bit more open, and like the world is a lot larger. And I feel like with Sonic Frontiers, allegedly, or I don't even know if it's confirmed, people are saying it's going to be like open world, and I feel like if we get gameplay that's kind of in the same vein, that could be interesting. Like obviously I don't think it's going to be a grinding farming sim like getting points to advance, but like I feel like this shows that you can come up with an interesting concept for a Sonic game that takes place in a more open-ended environment. Here you can see the Chow I've collected. By default, you get 3 Chow equipped at one time, but you can have basically as many as you want, I think. And the different colors are different rarities, and I think they give you better stats if they're more rare. So I have 2 rare Chow, the lime one and the red one are rare, and then the jewel black Chow is a epic, like an epic. One thing I keep forgetting to mention is that you do have a spin dash. If you press the X button on the Xbox controller is what it is for me. but you will spin dash. Most people do that at the beginning of a race, and you get some extra speed, but you can also do it to get up ramps just like you would in a normal Sonic game. So the last couple things I want to show you are, I'm going to show you the shop where you can spend Robux to buy certain things. You can buy 2 additional pet slots, and you can basically remove the cap on your levels without having to rebirth, so you can level up infinitely. And there's a couple other things, and then in the second tab you have the ability to activate a boost for a certain period of time. You can see there's 3 different ones depending on what you want to be boosted. And then the final tab in the shop is simply where you can buy rings. Like I said, I really don't think you're going to need to, at least not in the game's current state. It might make it more difficult to complete without purchasing stuff in the future, but the way it is now, it just seems like you gather so many rings to begin with that unless you're just desperate for, I don't know if you noticed, the Snow Valley vending machine actually costs 40,000 rings per thing. So, but unless things get more expensive than that, I wouldn't think it would be very important to buy rings. And here you can see there's just some Sonic swag you can buy from your typical Roblox avatar. It does say purchase. I'm not actually sure what you purchase it with. Like I said, I don't play Roblox a lot, so I don't know if you have to buy stuff like that with the actual Robux, or if it will be something you can buy with rings. Here you can see I actually found the card that unlocks Tails. So I'm going to show you how to equip a character. Basically, you just go into the menu like you would for equipping a Trail or a Chow, and you select the character you want and you hit equip. And I think I'm actually going to break out the white Trail for Tails. I think that's going to be cool for him. So I equipped that as well, and then I'll just briefly show you him in action, just walk around the map a little bit. I will say Tails basically plays exactly like Sonic. He doesn't have any kind of flight ability. I don't know if that's a permanent thing or if they'll change that. It'll be really interesting to see what they add, if they add any new playable characters. But that about wraps up everything that I've uncovered and all the advice that I have for people. So I'm gonna say goodbye to you guys, and I would say give this game a try. In a lot of ways, I think it's actually even better than the Minecraft stuff. Not nearly as much to do, but I think the gameplay is a lot more solid. So, you know, any new content is fun to mess around with, and I would definitely recommend this. Anyways, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.